Hello, and welcome to another monthly reading from Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen, an Australian sociologist with a primary interest in the language of colour as it pertains to the way in which people view each other and also in the way in which we act in our everyday lives. This month, I've decided to choose a new oracle that I received just recently. It's by Sharina Starr, and it's called the Fortune Oracle. There aren't very many cards in this, but I have noticed that the cards that do exist here are really quite interesting. So hopefully they'll help us along our journey in May, because we've had a couple of really torrid months. Everyone in the world has been subjected to quite a high level of anxiety. And I hope that this month's readings for May 2026 will help to curb some of that anxiety and bring us all back down to earth and to a situation where we can actually be kind to one another. So let's get started, shall we? To begin with, let's select an oracle card to help us along and give us some extra definition to the colour reading. As you can see, my shuffling has not improved at all. Anyway. Okay, we'll pop the card over here. So, a colour reading for people born in the month of March to see how their May 2026 will pan out. And firstly, we need a combination that indicates their strength. And what we have here is pink on brown. And next, we need to look at the obstacle that you will be overcoming, and that is cyan on brown. And then we need the additional supportive energy that you have access to throughout May. And what we have here is yellow on orange. All right. The strength. Pink on brown. Brown as the driver is an urge towards some form of ambition. There is something you want to achieve. And you need to establish not only what that is, but also the steps that will take you towards its fulfillment. In other words, you need to find out what you have to do, what you have to learn, what you have to practice in order to be able to attain whatever those skills are, whatever those particular goals are that you want to achieve, what ambitions you desire. In the real world, you have pink. And pink basically means that you are a novice in this situation. You don't know what to do. And what's more, you don't have the energy that will allow you to fire up and do it on your own. You need assistance. And so this positive, this strength of yours is that when you have a particular goal in mind, you are able to go out and find the sort of assistance that is necessary for you to be shown what to do, to be guided along the way that will teach you what you have to learn, and basically to be supported and cared for through the process of developing that particular skill or developing towards that ambition that you have for yourself. The obstacle that you need to deal with, however, is that that same driver, that same desire to achieve something, that same goal energy is also driving your obstacle. Here, it comes through as your ability to find the connections that you need to get the help that you need. But cyan is also a color of connections. Only this time, it's connections related to relationships. And here, because this is an obstacle, it means that often you find that the people who come to help you, the aid that you receive here as the thing that you are easily able to manage, then becomes a form of relationship that you find less easy to manage. And those relationships can be quite overwhelmingly difficult to negotiate, because as an obstacle, cyan means that they create boredom and stagnation and generally a feeling of discontent. So that while you are receiving help, the type of help you're getting doesn't actually make you feel good about yourself. Now, the additional supportive energy that we have here is yellow on orange. Orange is your ability to survive. As a driving force, it means that you have confidence, you are capable, you know what to do in any given situation, and when a crisis occurs, you are able to overcome it. You can meet it head on, and you can overcome whatever that issue was. And what's more, when you have done so, you come through in the real world as being quite happy and optimistic with the results. You are able to find yourself feeling as though, yes, you've accomplished something, it's all gone well for you. There's another reading here too. If we mix the yellow and orange together into one color, we end up with a gold. And gold is the color of abundance. It's the color that's associated with resource plenty. So here we have, as a potential for you throughout May, is this ability to attract the sort of abundance, the sort of resources that you need in order to deal with these goals and ambitions that you have here, whether they be your strength or whether they be the obstacle that you need to overcome. The resources are available to you, provided that you have the courage to think positively about the situations that you find yourself in. Let's have a look at the missing colors to see what they offer us in terms of advice. There's no black. There is no white. You have yellow. There's no green or blue, but you do have brown. You have orange. There's no gray or purple, but you do have pink and you have cyan. So these 6 colors here are the colors, oops, one hidden in underneath there that I obviously didn't see, and that is red. You don't have any red either. Sorry about that. Happens sometimes. So these 7 colors here are the colors of the skills that you are not currently using throughout the month of May. These 5 here are the ones that you are using. Now, the colors that you're not using represent skills that you may be aware of, maybe even have accomplished in the past, but for some reason or other, they do not fall into your priority needs for the month of May. But they are available to you if you decide to add them into your repertoire. And you do this by choosing the one color that is most appealing and then the color that is least appealing. And in taking those 2 colors and adding them to your life in some way throughout May, you are increasing this repertoire of what you can do, but you're also giving yourself the potential access to all of the other colors in between the best and the worst of what is missing. So it gives you a number of opportunities to change the outcomes of whatever it is that this is driving you towards. Now, I'm not going to be examining these in any detail today because I have each one of these colors as a distinct personality type on my channel if you want to delve deeper into the missing colors and how they influence behavior. What I do want to do this time is look at the interactions between the strength, the obstacle, and the additional energy that is available to you. So firstly, we have pink on brown, and then we have cyan on brown, and then we have yellow on orange. Now, leaving aside the additional energy for a moment, let's firstly examine what happens when we take the interaction of the strength and the weakness. And I think it becomes pretty well apparent that there is no difference. If you take the pink from your strength and add it to the brown of the obstacle, you still get pink on brown. If you take the cyan from the obstacle and add it to the brown of the strength, you still get cyan on brown. This is a very, very tight loop, and it very rarely occurs in a reading. It means that these two are linked so tightly together, the strength and the obstacle, that you will have difficulty in telling them apart. And the reason for that is this brown. You have a lot of goals. You have a lot of things that you want to achieve. You also need to learn a lot before you can go ahead confidently and achieve them. There's no confidence in pink and there's no confidence in cyan. Pink is all about needing help. Cyan is all about not only getting help, but not getting the sort of help that you want because it is an obstacle. So what happens when we have that sort of picture? It means that you must very much consider carefully what skills and what goals you have. Why are you choosing that particular goal? What specific skills do you need to learn? Is it within your scope? And that's why some of these missing colors are really, really important, because they will expand this skill goal setting so that it becomes something that is achievable. But we can also look at the crossover between the strength and the additional energy. And that gives us a slightly different reading. And what we do here, in order to do that, is we swap over the drivers. So what do we have? We have pink from the strength, and we have orange from the additional energy. And we end up with pink on orange. And here we have yellow from the additional energy, and we add it to the brown of the strength, and we have yellow on brown. Pink over orange is all about surviving threats to your life. Now, I'm not saying that you're likely to be in the situation where your life is in danger, but the threats to your life come through because you do not have the energy to resist. Pink in the real world is, I can't say no. You cannot resist. You don't have the energy. There's very little life force left in here. Orange in the internal world, in the bottom half of the combination, is about confidence and courage and survivability. You will be able to face calamity. You'll be able to take on any crisis that comes at you and be able to survive it. But the survival will not be easy because you need someone else to help you do it. Baby energy, which is what pink is all about, cannot do anything of its own accord. It must have assistance from others. And because it can't say no, it has no way of knowing whether that assistance is going to be positive or whether it is going to try and overwhelm and create even more crisis for you to survive. Here, if we use the other crossover pair, we have yellow over brown. Yellow from here, brown from here. Yellow and brown are both about learning things. The brown is about learning a new skill, becoming more practically oriented, determining what you need to know in order to achieve something. Yellow, on the other hand, is learning for learning's sake. It's being happy and optimistic about the fact that you can remember things. So in effect, the yellow and brown is a very positive combination. It allows you to not only take on a challenge, but also to remember what you have learned about that challenge so that you can then move forward to be able to attain the goal that you set yourself. You can also, do it this way. You can also look at the intersection between the additional energy and the obstacle. And again, we do this by crossing over the drivers. Can you see what's happening here? The driver, yellow and brown, remains the same. So even though when it is crossed over here, it creates a positive view of the things that you can learn in order to attain a goal, here, because it is linked to your obstacle, it becomes a problem. Your goals do not necessarily lead to memory and learning and being able to have fun. It can lead to high anxiety. Maybe the task you are setting yourself, maybe the goal that you are asking yourself to achieve causes you so much stress that you're not sleeping properly, that you are finding it difficult to remember the things that you need to remember, that your learning curve is too wide, too large, too high for you to accomplish it easily. That is a possibility because you are mixing additional energy, which is neutral, with this obstacle energy. On the other hand, you could also have the cyan that is available in the real world mixing with the orange of the internal world. Now, cyan on orange normally would be considered to be confidence to create peace and harmony in your real world. And yes, that reading is possible for you. But remember that the cyan is an obstacle. So here we have a reading that possibly says, potentially, offers you crisis that you need to overcome, challenges that you need to stand up and be counted, challenges that cause you to have to be courageous in facing them. But in the real world, all it does is make for a very boring life. Nothing changes. You got this challenge, you met it, you did what you had to do in order to overcome the challenge. And in the real world, there are no real rewards for it. So this is a feeling that is one of despondency. Why bother to keep struggling? Why bother to keep fighting if nothing ever changes, if everything remains the same? You've got a lot to think about in May. Let's have a look at what the Oracle has to say. It says transformation. Reach out for the power and strength to make changes, enrich your life, and become the person you want to be. Transformation is often associated with death. It's associated with letting go of the past and starting off in a totally different direction. But this transformation is asking you to also head towards something that is desirable for you, and that is the brown. Brown as a strength and brown as an obstacle. How are you going to deal with the goals, the ambitions, and the practical skills that you need to acquire in order to obtain what you want out of life? Well, there's one thing for sure, and that is, even though we've had a rough number of months, February, March, and April, May doesn't really offer us all of the wonderful future that we might be hoping for. There's still going to be struggle. There's still going to be a need to reevaluate where we are going, what we are doing, what we want out of life. If your reading resonates with you, then certainly I urge you to make use of those missing colours, because they will make a difference to the way in which May 2026 works out for you. In the meantime, I wish you all the best for the month, and I'll see you again at the beginning of June. May the colours of your life bring you all the things that you need for your own happiness and higher good. Catch you next time. Bye.